Yeah, he's had a rough few minutes before this, right? Whoa, whoa. Look at that, more Super Saiyan inspiration. Kind of similar to Sean Lark's new look, right? Ooh, the sounds. Wow. Oh, you can't. Whoa. He's not able to perceive it. It's almost as if he's moving on a different plane. Is this the ultimate Hatsu of Killua Zoldyck? Godspeed. Right. Makes sense as Zoldyck as well, right? Whoa. Okay, Killua. Almost as if because he changed his aura to electricity. It is similar to autopilot then. Wow, right. Physical speed. Okay. Yet. It's a learning experience for Montezuma. Whoa, look at that. It's like a reset. Instinct against overthinking. This is only possible because the needle's been removed. Sure is. Strategy is a big component of it, Yuppie. Oh, I love this. He's embracing the challenge, the potential. Huh. Ah. It's a costly output, isn't it? There's always a trade-off. Oh god. Ah. Melhorou. He's clocked it. He figured it out. He's got enough evidence of it now, right? Yeah, but how about shoot? It disappeared. Hopefully he just blacked out. Yeah, let's see how he approaches it. Chance. And go about, yeah. Or you could possibly try to take over his body. Oh, that too. That too. I love these chibi illustrations. So killing's not really an option, is it, for him? Ooh. Spoke too soon there. But he wasn't thinking about it initially. It's a great shot. Living dead dolls, right? I mean, he shot at Killua quite a bit, but yeah. You could do that? Okay. I didn't even think that's a possibility, you know, the way they set up the security system. It's quite the defect, actually. He didn't think of it either. Yeah, issues, a lot of issues if that happens. Oh god, all roads kind of lead to that potential, right? Oh, okay, maybe not, let's see. Yeah, he's not the quickest, is he? Yeah, it's a bit short-sighted to not have that material be the door for the elevator. That voice, though, man. See, it does seem familiar. Oh. Oh. He pulled a shoot. Yeah. Okay, so he thinks there's two multiples at least. Yeah, but he's not trying to be trapped either, right? He's thinking as well. That thing there? Could it be through the elevator? Okay, cargo. Okay. You got this, let's go. But that's the only opening, the elevator. So he is thinking about the elevator somehow. And this is a cargo trying to draw his attention from that possibility? Ah. Is the cargo actually in there? Maybe he did a quick... and then he shut it. Or that. Let's see. No, he's got to be in there. I think he's trying to... so you think... Oh, he's inside, okay. He panicked for a moment inside, right? He needed to do something before he realized something. And the only opening there is the elevator. Ah, now it's blocked. Okay. I mean, it's not the greatest security system if you can kind of bypass it. Again, really simple bypass. As long as you have firepower, of course. Oh, light it up. Ooh. Used as a cover. Ooh, he brought the piping. Ah, yeah, he's small enough to get through, I suppose. Taco. And now? Yeah, it's leaking in. He might be out, but there's still a choice to be made, a decision. And the final step. Make him a living dead doll, eh? Perhaps the most difficult. Ah. Never killed anyone before himself, eh? It's not the easiest. Oh. The ultimate moral conundrum, right? He's not able to do it, is he? And you look at the contrast, right? Gone over in the guest room. Ah, he left it slightly open. Yeah, I think I've seen a similar reaction before, right? Kurapika, I believe. It's not in his nature, is it? It's just not. No, I disagree. I disagree. Everything he did up to this point says otherwise. Here you go, here you go. Wow. Ah, okay. Ah, yeah, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Bit of a masterstroke by FILMBuFF. He's got him, yeah, really overthinking it. Not overthinking it, but yeah, and he played on that, didn't he? Keep it simple, eh? Oh, that's it. My god, that flew by. Kill or don't kill. Okay, episode 119. So, you know, now it kind of feels like I'm finally about to get a bit more of a focus on FILMBuFF and Moral's encounter. Hopefully, at least. You know, it's been building and building. They've kind of touched up on it, checked in on that encounter on a few occasions at this point. And, you know, now Moral's kind of in the middle of that conundrum, right? I mean, it's an episode full of conundrums, you know, be it Moral, be it Ekalgo. And in this case, it's really quite clear that FILMBuFF is kind of, you know, playing into that, you know, that aspect of Moral actually being really quite impressive, and that, you know, these are the types of thoughts that are going to occur to him. I mean, this is essentially after he kind of gets a read on him, right? Those initial reads on him through spiritual message. And yeah, you know, I'd say so far, FILMBuFF, or his ability rather, or sorry, his approach rather, has been essentially really quite impressive. You know, I called it a masterstroke because essentially he's got Moral between a rock and a hard place. And now it's going to come down to him and his intuition, right? And him committing to just one outcome and executing that. So, you know, if you look at it from FILMBuFF's perspective, you know, he believes that, okay, you know, he's kind of got this, you know, really formidable opponent kind of locked in almost. Again, you know, that notion of being stuck between a rock and a hard place. So perhaps from his perspective, you know, he's kind of taken care of this situation, right? But again, you know, this is Moral, right? One of the most experienced hunters. And my expectation is that, you know, ultimately he is going to, you know, figure it out that, you know, this whole thing, it's all by design, right? Him kind of being stuck between two choices, right? To attack or not to attack. I think ultimately he'll kind of put it together. And also, you know, right after he's thinking about attacking or not attacking, I said to kill or not to kill. That was in reference to Ekalgo's situation, right? The conundrum. I mean, that's essentially the ultimate conundrum, right? to kill or not to kill. And yeah, I've got to say, I really enjoyed the Ikalgo segment. I did. Hell, it actually takes up the majority of the episode, right? Even though, you have that grand setup in the finale or in the conclusion of the last episode, right? Killua and, his new ability that, they've been hinting at for some time now, or on a few occasions at least, but for some time now, in the sense that it was hinted all the way back in episode 101. I did go back after the last episode to confirm if it is indeed episode 101 or 100. It is episode 101. And, here you have the narrator actually referencing that episode and the events of that episode once again, right, in terms of the setup for it. I mean, hell, the whole Dart situation, that's essentially there. The makings of the second part of his ability are already showcased, right? Or set up. And now, 18 episodes later, you see perhaps the ultimate Hatsu of Killua Zoldyck, right? The execution of the ultimate Hatsu, right? But here's a really cool thing about the presentation of this and just the ability itself that is almost seemingly OP, right? Nothing's really truly OP, but it's a damn incredible ability, isn't it? Godspeed. And then, of course, the title of this ability really kind of drives home that notion of this being really, really quite the ultimate Hatsu as well for Killua, right? The pinnacle, perhaps, combining everything that he's learned up until this point. But, also, these are still kind of like the early days for Killua and Nen. Yes, it's been a decent amount of time, but he's still got the rest of his life ahead of him. If, unless, of course, there's a Killua Zoldyck death at some point. But, hypothetically speaking, imagine Killua 15, 20 years from now, even 5 years from now, right? Working on this ability. Yeah. But, going back to the name of the ability itself, right? Godspeed. There's actually, technical or really literal elements to it, right? In association with, the hyper speed aspect of it. And again, the almost again, OP godlike nature of it. And then, of course, there's other meanings attached to it because this term does have other connotations, right? Sometimes that term is used to wish someone success and safety, right? Especially if they're going on a long and dangerous journey, right? The dangerous part of it being the standout. In this case, I suppose, ultimately a parting statement, right? But, the thing I really liked about this approach is that, after all that setup, and then, of course, after that really incredible opening, and again, hinting at the actual look of it as well, right? The physical changes that take place, you see that it only really lasted a few moments, right? In real time for us audience, as it plays out, it's a couple of minutes, but, within the actual story itself, it must have been a couple of seconds, right? And that's it. And Killua had to get out of there ASAP. And of course, Melioran is there to help him as well. And, this time, Monteta Yuppie has enough information now, enough, different encounters and experiences that he's finally able to put it together. They've got someone assisting them that can help them just disappear, right? Invisibility is at play here. And, I'll come back to Killua and the ability itself, but, I kind of want to focus on Yuppie for a bit. I think one of the things that's been a standout over the past few episodes is Yuppie's own internal growth, right? Or rather his shift, the internal shift that is happening, right? You see that he's beginning to have a different perspective on things, a different perspective on Nen and Aura, right? And base power levels and all of that, and the strategic elements of all of this. You see that he's excited. By the end of this, he's excited about the potential, the possibilities, right? He's enjoying it. He's beginning to enjoy it. He is actively, looking to take part. You see that by the end of this encounter with Killua, really quite a puzzling one, given, again, his own understanding of his own raw potential in comparison to everyone else, right? He said, theirs is less than 10% of his own. Right? Yet they are able to do this, right? He's beginning to understand the strategic application and the element of these battles and Aura, right? I believe he said, this is beginning to get interesting. Hell, he called it profound, right? So I love this. I actually love this for Yuppie. Now it's more so about, relishing the unknown, the potential, and all of this, recent growth or the, internal shift it's been facilitated by these really unique and incredible experiences that he's had over the last, few minutes. Again, I almost said over the past few days, but now it's only been a few minutes, right? He is beginning to understand the potential of Nen, the versatility of it, right? The fascinating implementation of it, right? The strategic implementation of it. And there's that shift from being that shield into becoming an active warrior, right? I think I spoke of this a couple of episodes ago, right? Going from reactive to proactive. But going back to Killua's Godspeed, as cool as it is, as incredible as it is, you see that it's done little to no damage. I mean, nothing significant at all. There's barely a scratch on Montezuma, right? It did nothing of the sort. I mean, yes, in the moment, it has its uses, right? Stunning Montezuma, kind of, tying him up, lighting him up, and, kind of keeping him out of a situation. Again, even if it is momentarily, but ultimately it didn't deal damage at all, because they did specify this is all about speed, because Killua's not really getting a jump in his output, right, in terms of dealing damage. And, again, this kind of goes back to the setup from episode 101, right? That it's essentially based on instinct and reflexes. The narrator states in this episode that the attack bypasses commands from his brain. Of course, as explained in episode 101, to improve those reflexes, he essentially changed his aura into electricity, right? He transmuted it. That really truly felt like kind of like a setup moment back then, a breakthrough moment. And, that's one of the reasons Killua was so, annoyed or disappointed in those moments as he's laying in his puddle of blood, that, he finally got a hint to actually implement into his new ability, right? To work on his new ability, to finalize his new ability, perhaps his new Hatsu. And look at me now, I don't even have the chance to do it. But then, of course, a Kalago shows up. So now he's got it so dialed in, so fine-tuned that it allows his body to react automatically to his opponent, right? So it's, at the most basic level, it's all about instincts, right? Locking in or locking on, reflexes, muscle memory, that kind of thing. This ability is all about superhuman reflexes and instincts. And, these are the types of, reflexes and instincts that are suppressed up until a certain point, right? By the needle. And like I said, it would not have been possible if he did not remove that needle, right? This is the true potential of Killua Zoldyck on display. And then, of course, there's that idea of him placing an electrical burden upon his own body, right? And again, it's really possible because of his upbringing and his, again, experiences with electricity and being electrocuted and all of that, right? It's just part of being a Zoldyck, right? And the training component of it. It's just second nature to him. And, it's such a cool thing that you can really go back and find a lot of setup moments, right? You go back to Heaven's Arena, him getting electrocuted, and, for a moment kind of pretending that it is, really doing a number on him. But no, he's like, nah, just kidding. I love that moment. And now you see it at play once again, episodes later, at the highest level possible, right? The ultimate Hatsu of Killua Zoldyck, I think, right? At least up until this point. And again, I feel like years from now, it'll be incredible, even more incredible than it is at this point, right? Right now, it's all about short bursts, isn't it? But, with experience, training, just more time, right? I think he can get it up even higher in terms of actually holding it, or at least the amount of time he can execute that ability. And, the narrator actually said something quite interesting, didn't he? It's a pre-programmed attack that is triggered, right? In response to, hostile aura, or an opponent's hostile aura, rather. That actually really reminded me of Autopilot, Shalnark's ability. Again, Shalnark also looking like Super Saiyan in that form, in that, application of Hatsu, or that specific Hatsu, really allowing that type of output, right? Making it possible for his body to perform at a level far beyond anything that should have been possible. So yeah, it's a really exciting first showcase of Godspeed. Short and sweet, really truly short and sweet. But I'm assuming that it is going to be playing a part again at some point. It really is one of those abilities that could be really quite clutch, a game changer essentially as a support ability for someone else. So yeah, I'm really quite excited to see it again. The implementation of it. And also right in the middle of that encounter, you see that, there's confirmation that at this point, Shoot has blacked out, right? Hopefully it's just that he's blacked out, unless it's an off-screen death, right? That he just passed on you know? I'm kind of leaning towards him just kind of blacking out. And, let's kind of see how it all plays out. But I thought that was a cool little indicator of it, right? His ability just kind of disappearing. And I'm sure, of course, Montata Yuppie is going to pick up on that as well. Listen, man, episode by episode, the focus on Montata Yuppie and his own, internal growth and this shift in perspective, that's becoming one of the things I'm most excited about at this point. Really, truly. And then, of course, the narrators actually set up something that is meant to be an unbelievable choice coming up soon enough. That this change of heart is about to, lead him to make an unbelievable choice, but that doesn't happen until a bit later. So, let's put a pin in that. But yeah, it's a great little segment at the beginning of the episode. And then came the shift to a Ikalgo's segment. Now, listen, like I said, I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it, again, because I like Ikalgo and, I really like this conundrum he's in at the moment, or, found himself in at that moment. And the whole, back and forth, him being under pressure and, being able to just execute all of these things, right? And like I said, but at the end of the day, he felt that he's a coward for not being able to kill Bravuda. Or Bravuda rather, for not being able to cross that final hurdle of actually killing him, right? There's a line of dialogue. I just have to pull this trigger, right? And I'm done. But it's never just that easy, is it? It's never just as easy as pulling a trigger. That was the most difficult part of it. Once he finally had him under, once he's finally blacked out, having a free shot at him, that's the most difficult part of it. And, again, I think, Ikalgo's true character is on display, right? He just couldn't do it. He couldn't kill him, right? Now, there's, I kind of brought it up, he was more than open to hunting down Killua. But again, those shots aren't really meant to be kill shots, right? Those flee shots, they have a really specific purpose. And again, at that point, Killua is a human, right? That's essentially an enemy, right? And he's doing his job at that point. Ikalgo, that is, through that really specific host. But now things have changed. Things have changed quite a bit. But again, he came face to face with a Chimera ant, one of his own. Even though they don't find themselves on the same side anymore. He's got a free shot at just killing this Chimera ant. And, I thought his struggle is really, really quite impactful. I felt it. I felt that it's believable. I felt that it was really quite realistic that he is having this struggle about, taking a life and, the meaning of taking a life, once you make that step, once you take that step. Because again, they establish that he's never actually killed anyone himself, right? Just straight up kill someone. So yeah, even his reaction a little bit later, once he begins to throw up, all really quite authentic, I felt. And, recently, over the span of the past few episodes, I've been treated to some really fantastic voice acting performances, right? Here is yet another one through Ikalgo. I thought, that was so integral in selling the high stakes nature of it all, really selling that internal struggle of Ikalgo. And, I think I figured it out. That's actually Kiemon's voice from One Piece. The thing is, One Piece it's such a massive cast that it feels like sooner or later, almost everyone that's anyone kind of gets a chance at voicing someone from One Piece. Again, given the insane amount of episodes of that anime, right? And again, the staggering cast, you need a lot of voice actors. Right. And, there's a lot of overlap and I love it. I love those moments of actually, having those breakthrough moments of recognizing, a voice actor from something else. And again, going back to that point about him not being able to pull the trigger and then, just kind of beating himself over it. I immediately disagreed. He's not a coward. He's just not. Right. He's not a killer. He's not able to take a life. And, like I said, everything he's done down there. Right. It dictates that he's not a coward. He's done everything he could to make sure that Bravuda does not go back up there. So I hope, he takes a moment to himself in that room and gathers himself and, approaches it from a different perspective now, right? At the end of the day, he has it under control. Bravuda is out of the picture for now, at least. And yeah, like I said earlier, I really enjoyed the back and forth, the interplay, right? And again, Bravuda is not some dummy either, right? He's got some logical thought behind his process as well, right? Even though, sometimes he may have arrived at the wrong conclusion, but that's simply because, he doesn't have all the information But, you know, based on the information he does have, that there might be 2 of them now, right? In addition to Flutter, because one might be in the tank and one might be in the room, right? And, you know, at one point, as there's a fire inside of the tank, he's trying to you know, bait the one that's looking, you know, the eye in the sky, or the peeping Tom rather. He's trying to bait him into coming out. So yeah, it made sense. You know, if you look at it from his perspective, it makes sense for him to come to that conclusion. And yeah, you know, ultimately, I thought that Ikago is really quite resourceful in there, really quite impressive under pressure, under immense pressure, able to execute, right? You know, that just the tank plan, right? He just looks around for a few things. You know, he can't pick and choose. He just has to come across some things and just put it together as a quick plan. And, you know, that plan is a really solid one at that, right? Given the time he had to devise that plan. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access or timer-based full length or even full opacity, consider checking out the Patreon page and, you know, potentially supporting the channel. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.